Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Entrepreneurship. We are in week 2 special lecture. The topic today is mergers and acquisitions in startups. What are mergers and acquisitions? Mergers and acquisitions are a way to grow. Generally, these are attributed to large companies or companies which are established and wanting to grow higher. Recently, we have heard about the merger that was proposed between HDFC and HDFC Bank. Similarly, acquisitions take place all the time in the world. For example, Larsen & Toubro acquired Mindtree a few months ago. So mergers and acquisitions are a given in the business scenario. But what is interesting is that startups also grow by the route of mergers and acquisitions. We will consider this space in this lecture. In 2021 and 2022, there have been record number of M&A deals. In 2021, 194 M&A deals have happened, while in just the first quarter of 2022, we already had 100 M&A deals done. This level is 137% higher than 2020, which saw only 82 M&A deals, and 71% higher than 2019, which saw 113 M&A deals. These are also viewed as Thrasio style e-commerce startup M&As. However, EdTech and FinTech M&As are also happening in a big way. See, the M&A deals over the years have seen a minor roller coaster, but not necessarily a big slip down or big hike up. In 2015, there were 117 M&A deals, which increased sharply to 149 in 2016. But between 2015 and 2019, one may say that an average of about 120 M&A deals per year used to happen. 2020, the year of COVID, saw a significant decline to 82 M&A deals. But what is important is that 2021 saw one of the highest M&A deal structures happening, that is 194. And if the run rate of Q1 2022 is anything to go by, we might be crossing that number of 200 easily, and probably the year may close with 300 M&As. Interestingly, M&A may accelerate even when the macroeconomic environment is tough, because when the going is not good for certain companies, they become ripe candidates for acquisition by some other better doing companies. When you look at sectoral allocation of M&A deals in 2021, you will find that enterprise tech, fintech, edtech constitute together around 40% of the deals. But the single constituent has been e-commerce at 28%. Media and entertainment, health tech constitute 8% and 6% respectively, while others constitute about 18%. As we have seen from the previous special lecture, these others could include as many as 10 to 12 different segments. The top 10 acquirers in the Indian startups ecosystem have been the following. 1. Mensa, the brand of brands company, which I referred to in the previous lecture as one of the fastest growing startups and the first to become a unicorn within a year of its establishment. Mensa has done 12 M&As. Byju's, the top ranked unicorn in India, had an M&A count of 10. Upscaleo had an M&A count of 8, while Cure Foods 7. Global Bees did 7 acquisitions, while 10 Club did 6. The Good Glam Group did 4, while Unacademy, an online teaching platform, did 4. Upgrade, again another online teaching platform, did 4. Nykaa, the fashion portal, has done 3. Interestingly, amongst the large acquirers in the Indian startup ecosystem, we find that 3 unicorns figure prominently: Byju's, Unacademy, Upgrade. That's because the entry barriers to online education have been relatively lower The levels of competence are so widespread that there could be many startups. Yet, for the scale up, one needed acquisition to happen. Let's look at some of the acquisition stories in greater detail. The acquired company, the industry, who has acquired, and the acquisition amount have been shown in this particular table. BillDesk is a payments company operating in the fintech industry. This was acquired by PayU at a consideration of 4.7 billion US dollars. BigBasket, we all know, has been a hyper-local delivery company with a successful delivery blueprint in several cities and towns of the country and a very successful supply chain model. This has been acquired by Tata Digital very recently, and the acquisition amount has been $1.2 billion. One of the important acquisitions in Byju's lineup has been Aakash. As we have seen in the previous lecture as well, Byju's is a predominantly online learning application, and Aakash is a physical model coaching students for the competitive exams. Byju's acquisition of Aakash is a great effort at enhancing the physical blueprint of Byju's, and the acquisition was done at 1 billion. Reliance Industries acquired JustDial for the hyperlocal services to be augmented in its portfolio. The consideration was $700 million. In the health tech field, PharmEasy, a very well-known startup, has acquired Thyrocare, a publicly listed company. This probably has been the first example of a unlisted startup company acquiring a listed public limited company, and the consideration was $600 million. In 2021, the new record was set up because of the strong M&A momentum. And there have been so many acquisitions by individual companies, as I have illustrated earlier, but Byju's acquisition track record has been very impressive. It has invested over 2.7 billion US dollars to acquire 10 companies this year. One of the important aspects of this M&A activity by Byju's, and probably by others as well, has been that these acquisitions have been funded by the venture capital firms. So the funding comes to Byju's, and Byju in turn becomes capable and aggressive enough to acquire these target companies. So the 10 acquisitions that were done by Byju's are: one Topper, online coaching; Aakash, exam preparation; GeoGebra, K12; Great Learning, higher education; Hashlearn, on-demand tutoring; Scholar, on-demand tutoring again; Epic, reading platform; Computer Vision, AR; Odut, Tinker, K12; and GradeUp, exam prep. As you can see, some of these were mega acquisitions, for example Aakash and Great Learning, whereas some others were bolt-on acquisitions. What is this Thrasio style business model that has been talked about? It is a new breed of startups. These startups specialize in acquiring fast-growing digital-first brands and scaling their products. This is because in 2018, Thrasio, a 3-year-old startup in US, made US $100 million profit in 2020 on a revenue of 500 million. And that has been possible by this kind of business model. The company is valued at USD 6 billion based on its latest funding round, and now manages a global portfolio of nearly 100 brands. The Mensa model is based on the Thrasio model. You acquire the brands, build value, and you acquire therefore greater market capitalization, better valuation. The Thrasio business model also got introduced in 2021. This was well received when 10 Club picked up country's largest seed round worth $40 million. First Cry's Thrasio arm GlobalBees received $150 million in Series A round from its parent Lightspeed Venture Partners, Premji Invest, Chirate Ventures, SoftBank, and Chris Capital. Again, this illustrates that when the business model is good, the founders are good. A number of venture capital firms as well as family offices come together to make investments in such firms. Let's look at what has happened under this business model in 2021 by and large. GlobalBees acquired or partnered with digitally native consumer brands. Some of these were The Better Home, Prolixer, and Me. Mensa Brands, a name in this field, acquired digitally native consumer brands Karagiri, Priyasi, Haber Home, Dennis Lingo, Ishin, Helia, etc. In 2015, the Good Glam Group was founded, and it spent $162 million to become a digital house of brands. Upscaleo, with a funding of $47.5 million, started acquiring and operating digitally native consumer brands such as Green Soul, Polestar, Tress. 10 Club, as I referred earlier, has been one of the early birds in this Thrasio style business model, acquiring and operating such consumer brands. The M&A landscape in 2022 has been equally exciting. There are at least 7 areas where there has been significant M&A activity: enterprise tech, e-commerce, consumer services, edtech, fintech, health tech, media and entertainment. Let's look at some of these acquisition stories in greater detail. Formeasy made the first ever acquisition of a listed company by an Indian unicorn. Formeasy is a digital pharmaceutical distribution and diagnostic company direct to consumer. It had 12 million consumers, had 6,000 digital consultation clinics, 90,000 partner retailers, and 1.5 crore orders delivered at the time of the acquisition. Thyrocare has been a pioneer in centralized diagnostics with distributed platforms across the country. It had 3,330 collection centers across 2,000 towns. It has covered 70% of the Indian population by its pan-India presence, and its revenue was 495 crores in 2021. Thyrocare's founder was Arokeswamy Velumani. A case study of Thyrocare's growth has been discussed in the main course. He sold the company to Formeasy for $600 million on June 26, 2021. And this deal brought together India's leading digital health platform and one of the most cost-effective diagnostic solution provider in India to create an integrated digital health platform. So with this, Formeasy, which was an essentially online distributor to consumers of pharmaceuticals, has kickstarted its journey into diagnostics, and that too on a very firm base of diagnostic centers all across India. And for Thyrocare, as a publicly listed company, it was difficult to raise funds in quick succession, whereas the acquisition by Formeasy provided Thyrocare the necessary flexibility and the numerous financial degrees of freedom that are available for a startup, and that was the business logic in this acquisition. Another high-profile startup acquisition has been PayU. PayU has acquired BillDesk, and the consideration was 4.7 billion. PayU has paid a significant amount to BillDesk, so that the total payment volume of 147 billion and ability to handle 4 billion transactions annually would increase PayU India's current volumes by a factor of 4. Therefore, PayU became one of the leading digital payments companies in India as a result of this acquisition. As per experts, this partnership is going to be fruitful as small merchants can get access to digital payments platforms much more seamlessly. Another top high-profile startup acquisitions in India has been Flipkart Walmart acquisition. In 2018, Walmart purchased Flipkart's 77% of the stake for $16 billion. This makes India's largest acquisition in the startup and internet space. Walmart, as we know, has been a global retailer with very strong presence in the United States of America. but Walmart has been by and large physical, and given the restrictions on retailing in India, Walmart was not having an appropriate way to enter the Indian market. The acquisition of Flipkart provided at once a big foothold in the Indian digital market. And in 2020, Walmart led another investment round in the startup for $1.2 billion, raising Flipkart's valuation to $25 billion approximately. Flipkart acquiring Myntra was another important high profile startup acquisition. This allowed Flipkart to venture into the fashion space. It was more into books and various other personal accessories, electronics, and daily necessities. But entry into fashion, which is a very specialized aspect of commerce, has been made possible for Flipkart through this acquisition. It was an untapped market for Flipkart before the acquisition happened. And sources estimate that the deal could be worth about 2000 crores rupees. Another high profile startup acquisition was the one which happened between Snapdeal and Freecharge. In April 2015, Snapdeal acquired Freecharge smartphone recharge service valued at $400 million. It was a cash plus equity deal, and it was one of the largest takeovers in the Indian internet business industry at that point of time. Freecharge remained a separate company after the takeover, allowing Snapdeal to grow its digital trading system within itself but in an independent, autonomous manner and with the proven brand Freecharge. In the ride handling services, Ola has been a pioneer, but Ola increased its scale early on by acquiring Taxi for Sure, which was promising to be a high profile startup in the ride handling business. And the acquisition for $200 million, although it was for a smaller company, it was essentially a value centric acquisition. It was for a cash and equity consideration together, and it happened in March 2015, and after that Ola had a much higher level of growth. The country's Ola footprint increased by about 15,000 plus fleet that Taxi for Sure had, and the network spread into 47 cities. MakeMyTrip and GoIbibo, both in the hospitality industry, digital hospitality and travel industry, is another very important startup acquisition. While the previous deals were for certain millions, this deal happened for 1.8 billions. And with this merger, Naspers and Tencent, which jointly owned the holding company, will be selling Ibibo into MakeMyTrip in exchange for the new shares by the company. And this has created much larger footprint and much greater strength for MakeMyTrip.com. Zomato had several acquisitions. Out of that, Urban Spoon and Uber Eats need particular mention. Uber, as we know, is a very strong company global, and it decided to convert part of its ride handling competence into distribution of food. But it also proved to the world that such diversification need not necessarily be scale intensive. It is not necessary that all the strengths and advantages of the parent will move to the division. And as a result, Uber decided to spin off its Uber Eats into Zomato. It was a $50 million deal when Urban Spoon happened, but Uber Eats was done for a bigger amount, $350 million to be precise. And this deal gave also a 10% stake in Zomato by user. So it was a kind of quid pro quo that happened. Zomato acquired Uber Eats. Apart from the cash consideration, a 10% equity stake in Zomato was also provided to Uber. Another important startup acquisition in the service area, in the knowledge area, has been the one between EY and Spot Mentor Technologies. Spot Mentor Technologies is an end-to-end skilling platform, and E&Y is in this service competency field. And this acquisition helped E&Y sharpen its edge in the future of work, upskilling and reskilling talent areas. It leveraged emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning to help close the critical competency gaps in an organization. So they are now providing a joint service for upskilling and digital reskilling, retooling, and things like that. So when you look at by the deal type, the merger and acquisition activity has been of different levels. We can look at three types of M&A activity. Inbound, that is the entities which are resident outside India come into India and make the M&A. The second one is domestic, that is within India two entities merge or acquire get acquired. Outbound is the Indian entity acquiring something outside, like Tata Motors went and acquired JLR brands, Tata Steel went and acquired Chorus Steel brands and infrastructure, and there could be several other areas which are neither fitting into one category or the other. So when you look at this, you can see that the domestic mergers and acquisitions are the most dominant aspects of the M&A activity, which is quite natural. In the renewable energy sector, Adani Green is a huge company by now, but it has also been a startup in the green energy area. It acquired SB Energy in India for $3.5 billion. Similarly, Reliance New Energy Solar has acquired REC Solar Holdings for $771 million. And these are the outbound deals happening because of the established nature of the groups. The next big contributor to the deals have been the IT sector deals. Wipro's acquisition of Capco for $1.5 billion and Byju's acquisitions of Great Learning and Epic for $600 and $500 million respectively fall in this category. There have been many other noteworthy acquisitions which we must review. CAMS acquiring Fintuple Technologies. CAMS is a stockbroking company, or CAMS is a company which deals with investors, which deals with issues, that is share issues, which deals with allotment of shares, which is a kind of financial advisor and manager for companies going into public issues, follow-on public offers, etc. So it has acquired a company which enhances its strengths in this area. PhonePe acquired Gig India. Gupshup acquired Knowlarity. If you will see Knowlarity being shown to you in a theme thread matrix in the main course. Good Glam Group acquired 3-4 companies. Reliance Retail acquired Clovia, and that is only one of the several acquisitions which Reliance Retail did. BillDesk acquired Process. Tata Digital, I mentioned, acquired Big Basket. Lenskart acquired Daily Joy. Amazon acquired PetPure. Verse Innovation acquired Webler, and CureFit acquired Fiternity. So you will see that their acquiries have been companies which have been successful, build their brands, but a more powerful or more well-endowed acquiring company has acquired such companies. But the world has got even bigger technology acquisitions taking place all the while. From 2020 onwards, the pace of technological acquisitions has only increased. Salesforce is a name known globally for its sales and marketing activities and also digital technologies. It has acquired the popular workplace communication company Slack for $27.7 billion in stock and cash. Slack itself has been a highly popular and highly successful startup dealing in the workplace connectivity. This deal brought together two software as a service SaaS giants, with Slack seeing explosive growth since its founding in 2009. For fiscal 2023, Salesforce has forecast an increase of 21% in its revenues to approximately $32 billion, while Slack is expected to account for just $1.5 billion in revenue. But what Slack brought for Salesforce was the digital communication capabilities, the footprint across a whole number of companies, small, mid, and large, and the agility which Slack got as a startup, and finally the market cap advantage which a startup brings. So these are the advantages of the Salesforce acquisition for Slack. Another big technology acquisition has been that of Facebook acquiring the New York-based startup Customer in November 2020 for a valuation of $1 billion. Customer had an omni-channel customer relationship management platform, and that was specifically focused on the contact centers. It was founded in 2015. Facebook has decided to provide the appropriate resources to customers' operations so that it could further improve and innovate on its product offering and delight its customers. Google Glass was a pioneering effort by Google but didn't work out well. Because of that, Google announced the acquisition of North in June for an undisclosed amount. North is based in Canada. It makes stylish flocals, smart glasses, and when it joins Google Office, it will be providing all the requisite support for the smart glass endeavor of Google. The Globe and the Mail, which first reported the Google's interest, placed the price around $180 million, which was less than the $200 million the company raised as a startup. Cisco acquired Thousand Eyes in a $1 billion deal. Thousand Eyes is a customer-oriented company, and the customer base includes more than 80 Fortune 500 companies and 6 of the top 7 US banks. For Cisco, it represented an enhanced customer reach and deepening of its interest in customer communication. So it was an important technology acquisition by Cisco. Amazon acquired self-driving company vehicle Zoox for a reported $1.2 billion in June 2021. As we know, all the technology companies, major technology companies in the US, Apple, Google, and Amazon, are interested in self-driving technologies. And to be able to do that, it has been looking at these acquisitions. It also took stakes in the electric truck maker Rivian and self-driving startup Aurora. Zoox itself raised $1 billion in funding to date, making it one of the very few autonomous driving unicorns. Wipro, our Indian company, has acquired the company called Capco. This acquisition was made in March 2021. Capco is a global management and technology consultancy, and the deal was for $1.45 billion all cash. This acquisition has been one of the biggest deals of Wipro. Earlier, it acquired Capgemini in a sensational deal in 2007. But with this acquisition, Wipro has increased its value chain. It has become one of the largest end-to-end global consulting and service providers to the banking and financial services industry. That's because Capco's clients include many marquee names in the global financial service industry. Over the past 20 years, the company worked very closely with business leaders, including boards and C-suites, in the banking, capital markets, wealth, asset management, and insurance sectors. Capco is London-based, while Wipro, though a global company, by and large is based in India. Microsoft acquired speech recognition and artificial intelligence company Nuance Communications for as much as $19.7 billion in April 2021. Technology companies have been looking at these kinds of acquisitions to deepen their digital skills and also expand into newer areas such as artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, machine learning, deep learning, and so on. Nuance was specialized in healthcare. Its cloud revenue in the healthcare sector experienced 37% year-over-year growth for the year 2020. Nuance will provide the layer at the healthcare point of delivery and is a pioneer in the real-world application of enterprise artificial intelligence. Intuit is very much known for its financial service offerings. It acquired the email marketing company MailChimp, which is again a very well-known name, for $12 billion in cash and stock in September 2021. MailChimp will work with QuickBooks, Intuit's accounting software, to help small and medium-sized businesses acquire and retain customers. And in January 2021, MailChimp had acquired SMS marketing platform Chatitude Inc., which allows two-way personalized communication between businesses and their customers. As you might have observed, WhatsApp has established a business communication channel. In fact, every email platform or every social media platform provides a specific business communication platform as part of its overall portfolio. And this acquisition has provided additional strength for Intuit in this area. Microsoft has moved the world of acquisition by buying out video game giant Activision Blizzard in a staggering $69 billion all-cash deal. This was announced in January 2022 and is expected to be closed in the fiscal year 2023. Why did Microsoft do? Microsoft did it so that it could take a leapfrogging jump into the metaverse arena. Till now, the metaverse was thought to be monopolized by Facebook and a few other startup companies. But Microsoft decided that it would take one giant leap into the metaverse arena. Therefore, it acquired Activision, and this would provide a virtual reality space for Microsoft's portals, Microsoft's tools, and Microsoft can create its own metaverse universe so that people can interact for purposes of work and entertainment. Activision itself had several years of rapid expansion. It kept on acquiring smaller game developers, and in 2008 Activision merged with the Blizzard Entertainment to create Activision Blizzard, and that became one of the world's largest video game companies. And video gaming and that video gaming related technology is one of the core pillars of the metaverse universe and metaverse movement that are happening now. On April 14, 2022, Elon Musk announced the takeover bid of the social network Twitter for approximately 44 billion US dollars. While there has been some roller coaster on this, clearly it is a deal which is extending beyond the normal contours of an acquisition. There is probably more to it than a mere acquisition, because so far Elon Musk has concentrated on high technology products and services in the industrial and infrastructure area. It could be automobiles, self-driving automobiles, electric cars, it could be Hyperloop, it could be space transportation, but these have been established industries which are undergoing huge transformation because of technological developments. But Twitter is a different cup of tea. It is a social media giant. It has got technology which will provide communication across the entire world. And Elon Musk has vowed to restore, within his words, freedom of speech by taking over Twitter. And he first acquired 7.14 billion equity commitments from friends and other investors in dollars to buy Twitters. In the company's latest earnings report, Twitter said it hit 229 million monetizable daily active users, a 16% increase from the same period last year. How the Twitter acquisition will pan out in future is anybody's guess, but hopefully this will happen. Of all times, if you look at, there have been 5 big technology mergers and acquisition. Google acquiring Fitbit has been one game-changing acquisition for Google, because Google was not into digital watches, digital fitness. It has been into mobile phones. Fitbit has been a pioneer in health companionship. However, it lost out its edge to giants like Apple, which came with digital operating watch systems. Google's Wear OS has struggled to topple Apple's Watch OS. So in 2020, Google acquired fitness tracker favorite Fitbit for USD 20.1 billion. It is unclear still how Google will use Fitbit's technology, but certainly the deal opens a path for the tech giant to start producing its own company branded smartwatch. Google is also absorbing the 29 million active users who currently wear Fitbit health tracking devices. This is one. Another one is Apple acquiring Beats. Beats is a music streaming system. Apple's 2014 deal to buy Beats is the most expensive acquisition in the company's history as of that date. It acquired Beats for $3 billion in a cash and stock deal. Since then, Apple made several acquisitions, but few have topped the $1 billion mark because most of the deals have been bolt-on acquisitions. But this acquisition of Beats has been one game changer in the music arena. Google acquiring Nest is also another game-changing merger and acquisition for Google. Former Apple executive Tony Fadell co-founded Nest in 2011 with backing from Google Ventures. 3 years later, Google brought Nest in-house in a USD 3.2 billion deal. Nest's smart home lineup of thermostats, locks, and cameras are now the foundation of Google's smart home lineup. You will see when you come to the patenting and IP areas of technology development and entrepreneurial development, a reference to Nest being made. How Nest fought off strong aggressive initiatives from Honeywell and other technology giants because Nest had high level of proprietary intellectual property which it patented, and this patent estate and its creativity brought Nest into the Google fold. Adobe acquiring Marketo is another game-changing acquisition for Adobe. It was a $4.75 billion acquisition. Marketo has been a marketing automation software company. It was founded in 2006, went public in 2013, was acquired by Vista Equity Partners for $1.8 billion in 2016. But this deal gave Adobe a suite of lead management, marketing, and revenue tools, and that could be incorporated in Adobe Experience Cloud as it worked to keep pace with companies like Salesforce. Salesforce acquiring MuleSoft has been another important merger and acquisition of all times. It spent $6.5 billion to acquire MuleSoft, and it's a microservices play which integrated all its cloud-based apps with MuleSoft's software as a service SaaS integration platform. So when you look at these deals, you will find that Q1 of 2022 itself equaled the total annual funding of $11.8 million for the year 2020. We are talking about India here. The funding amount and deal count were 186% and 64% respectively compared to the corresponding previous year. The deal count now stands at around 500 just for the Q1 of 2022, whereas for the entire 2021 the deal count has been 498. The highest valued startups in the world as of April 2022 are the following: ByteDance leads at $140 billion US, followed by SpaceX at $100 billion, Shein at 100, Stripe at 95, Klarna at 45.6, Checkout.com at 40, Canva at 40, and Instacart at 39. So the more pioneering a particular technology driven activity has been, and the earlier it has been in the market, and the more agile and more flexible the company has been in its growth journey, the valuation also has been correspondingly higher. Some of these startups are really daring startups, such as SpaceX by Elon Musk, and some have outdone other companies in terms of their digital technological skills. Thank you, and we will meet in the next special lecture number 3.